I recently did a video about how to set your pay rates. The flip side of that is to now talk about how to set your billing rates. In today's video, I'm going to cover the method that my 8-figure agency uses to set our billing rates and the things that you need to consider when doing so. Passive Workforce is a boutique consulting firm that specializes in healthcare staffing and home healthcare. We work with startups, growth stage companies, and mature businesses from start to exit. If this is the sort of guidance that you need more of, subscribe to the channel and like our videos so you stay current with the latest in this highly lucrative industry. These lessons are free, so I would really appreciate it for you to go the extra step and find that button right there, the one that says subscribe, and click it. Yeah, I'm waiting. Don't worry. You're not going to miss anything, okay? Great. I appreciate that. I have a simple rule of thumb when it comes to setting bill rates. That rule of thumb is that you should charge at least 1.5 times the amount that you're paying your employees, and here's why. To explain the 1.5 times rule, I think it's important to talk you through the logic there. The reason 1.5 is a good number is because it leaves enough room for you to cover your wages, plus the expenses associated with wages, and still turn a profit that's consistent with the industry. Now, in the staffing industry, you're going to see companies are going to net out. That means like what they truly profit at the end of the year, between 15 and 30%, give or take, 5% or so. If you have a 30% spread in your rates versus what you're paying, you're going to be in good shape to actually run a business and be profitable. To give you an example of what I mean by that, let's think about a nurse who's earning $50 an hour as their pay rate. If you're paying $50 an hour, you should be marking up your services as a bill rate of $75 an hour, which is 1.5 times that amount. Now, if you go back to my previous lesson where I talk about your true cost to employ, you're actually paying about 20% above the pay rate in your employer's cost. Those costs include your unemployment taxes, your federal taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and your state unemployment taxes, as well as your workers' compensation cost. And if you're using a factor or you're using some sort of loan, you're going to have a cost to the payroll capital. So if you put that all together, it's usually around 20%, plus or minus a few percentage points, depending on your state, depending on your rate, etc. So that leaves you with a 30% spread for yourself. So again, let's do the math. $50 with a 20% markup, which is $10, takes you to a cost of $60 an hour. If you're billing $75, that means that you're going to be making $15 an hour for your company. You're still going to have your operational cost, but it's still going to be $15 net, more or less, to your company that you're going to be able to keep for yourself. If you make the mistake of charging a 20% markup, what's going to happen? Once you run payroll, you're going to make $0. This is why it's important for you to use these rule of thumb numbers, because they put you in a position to understand what's going on. Now, another thing that you want to take into consideration when you're thinking about the 1.5 rule is that a facility has a choice to try to mandate their staff to work overtime to fill empty shifts or work with an agency. If they're mandating their staff, what are they going to be paying? Time and a half, sometimes even double pay, depending on what the union has agreed to for that facility. So if you come in at 1.5 times the pay rate, that's still going to keep you in line with a reasonable number that the facility is willing to pay in overtime. Remember, the facilities are paying wages, they're paying benefits, they're paying all these costs. They're also paying the same employment costs, workers' comp, etc. So to charge and pay somebody out the overtime rate is within their budgetary zone. If you go to double and triple, you start to push on the kind of edge of being way too expensive. When they're desperate, crisis situations, strikes, etc., they'll take that. But that's going to be the first thing that they look to cut, because their entire annual budget is based on regular rates and a percentage of overtime that is reasonable for that organization. So 1.5 times is a safe number that allows you to turn a profit above your cost and not be too expensive that the facility is looking to eliminate you as soon as they get the chance. We have a 2-hour webinar covering this exact rationale in detail on our website, passiveworkforce.com. Actually, I'll leave the link right below so you could watch it and see for yourself how to first calculate pay rates so you can accurately calculate your billing rates. You might be thinking another common question, and that's how frequently will you get paid by a facility? The answer to that question is usually anywhere from 30 to 60 days. Yeah, 30 to 60 days net can be kind of scary because we're paying nurses after all, and their salaries aren't low. So if you had 5 nurses working at an average of $50 an hour, using the same example before, that means that each nurse is going to be getting paid about $2,000 a week. That's $10,000 of payroll. For 60 days is going to be roughly $80,000 that you're going to need to float. A lot of people just getting into this business don't have $80,000 to pay out in payroll before they get reimbursed. So you're going to have to use different vehicles like lines of credit, loans from friends and family, loans from the bank to be able to meet that obligation. And if you are charging too low of a billing rate, even if you're using friends and family money or factoring money or lines of credit, you're not leaving enough room to turn a profit. And you're never going to get ahead enough to have enough money to float your own payroll eventually. So it is important for you that your bill rate makes sense, but that you have other capital vehicles available to you. Now, we can help you get credit, lines of credit, whatever you need to meet your payroll obligations. So if you do need help with that, just feel free to reach out to us. You can email us directly at operations@passiveworkforce.com, ask to be introduced to our lenders, and we'll get you in front of a lender that can make that payroll gap a little more accessible for you and will allow you to still turn a profit if using the 1.5 rule. If you're new to this business and haven't heard of any of this, I highly recommend our online courses and mentoring programs. They're packed full of information and my experience over the past 26 years of being in this business. You can register for them right here on our website, passiveworkforce.com. If you didn't get a chance to see how to calculate your pay rates and want to start there so you can properly set your billing rates, check out this video right here that covers exactly how to go about it so that you don't make the same costly mistake that many other agencies do.